Okay, Coach, if you could get us started with a few opening comments, and then we'll go to questions to the student athletes.
Yeah, great performance by our team. Obviously, as usual, started with Paul pounding the strike zone with all his pitches, executing at a high level. Thought the at-bats tonight were really good. Had a good plan. Guys stuck to it. Got some good swings. And then played good defense for the most part. And the engagement of the team throughout the day was very mature and outstanding, and look forward to tomorrow.
Okay, we'll take questions for the student athletes right here. Right?
Yeah, Paul, right here. Just, walking off the mound there in the 8th inning, can you just talk about the emotions there and just kind of what this, year has meant playing at LSU in these moments?
Yeah, I've gotten asked a couple times in the past couple weeks about what my expectations were coming in here. And it's not anything close. I wasn't expecting anything close to what I received the past couple weeks, which has been, it's been it was an awesome opportunity to come here in the first place. Never thought that I would be, receiving the love and all that from the fans that I've gotten in the past couple weeks, but it's so cool.
Yeah, I think we got one in the front here.
Paul, the start of the game, you guys had to wait all day to play, and then to see all those people, and they were so loud to start at 9 o'clock. You're a very intense player, but did that rev you up any more than you might have thought you might be to start the game?
Yeah, a little bit, but it always does. I think, especially coming into a game like this, that the adrenaline's going to be high, and the emotions are going to be high. Everything, there are high stakes. But being able to, calm yourself down and, just go out there and execute, that's all you need to do.
Right here, front right.
Paul, part of the game plan for you today, was it to be a little bit even more aggressive with your off-speed pitches and your breaking ball? Because we were just talking to Coach Nick, and that was one of the things that he noted with your performance today.
Yeah, last time we faced them, I think I struck out 13 and 12 of them were on the breaking ball. And so, a lot of the time you just have to feel them out and understand what their game plan is off me, because it changes from week to week, and we're not totally sure what it's going to be going into the week. So we got a good feel for that early in the game, and then went out there and executed pretty well.
Tre, from your perspective, what's it like to wait out a 7-hour rain delay, and how do you keep your focus as a hitter?
It was huge for us, kind of, when we were in the locker room, the whole team was pretty much together. We were watching, other games going by, but Coach Johnson told us to stay locked in, and as soon as we get the window to go, to be ready. So he challenged us to make sure that we were ready. So we felt the need to go out there and show them that.
Back middle.
Yeah, Paul, just can you talk about the idea that the delay was to kind of preserve your start, the other pitcher's start, not just you specifically, but just the importance, I guess, of that, knowing that, that's kind of why we were in the situation we all were in. And did that add any pressure for you to go out and perform?
No, not at all. The whole time I was, sitting in there for the delay is, all I was thinking is that, we're just going to get 11,000 I don't know how many people were at the game, but 12,452 people are going to go home and drink beer and then come back and be even louder.
Back left.
Ryan Black with the Courier-Journal. Paul, you noted the last time you faced UK, you had the 13 strikeouts against them, but also the 4 earned runs were the most any opponent has had on you this year. Did that at all add any extra motivation for you? Or, hey, it's already a super regional. I know it can't get really much more high stakes than that. I just didn't know if the Kentucky factor mattered to you at all about not letting them kind of do that to you twice.
Yeah, going in every weekend, you scout the hitters. It was nice to go into this weekend, watch a lot of video on the hitters and looked into their data, but also had, another outing to go off of. And we had a really good plan. I don't know that it was any extra motivation, but we definitely had, more data to go off of, I would say.
Over here, front right.
Hi, Tre. I'm Jim Mashik. Could you talk about the gamesmanship, the preening that you guys do when you complete a home run trot, and how did that all get started? And it seems to fire you guys up.
Yeah, it's called hitting the Tommy. Tommy brought it from where he came from. when he sits there and kind of leans back, sinks in his heels, and crosses his arms, it's kind of obviously towards our team, and it definitely fires us up. Yeah.
Glenn?
Paul, what did you do for the several hours in between when the game was first? I mean, did you nap or work out, or what did you do? You probably never had a situation like that before, did you?
For the first delay, I went home, played with the dog, and got some food, came back, and then warmed up again. And then for the second delay, I kind of just sat around, did what I needed to do to stay warm. Obviously didn't know when the game was going to start, but I was pretty much warm the whole time.
Back middle? Mike?
Tre, could you just talk about the offense kind of coming around for guys like yourself and Tommy, some guys that, trying to see it and did well tonight?
Yeah, definitely. We know the work that we put in can't change, no matter if we're successful or if we're struggling a little bit. And we also know that everybody in that dugout believes that we're going to get the job done every time we step up there. So that's the confidence that we kind of walk around with, and it definitely boosts us a little bit, or a lot bit actually. You walk around, no matter how you're hitting, it doesn't matter. It's this at bat when you step in there, and you pretty much expect to get the job done.
Front middle right here?
Paul, so many players talk about how your mentality is just something that they really look up to. What is something you do to stay grounded throughout the season?
I think everything just goes back to execution. Working throughout the week, in my bullpens, my catch play, all that, to go out there on Friday or Saturday night and execute. Obviously, we know what the game plan is going to be on the opposing team, and so we're working toward that. We're also working toward what I did well and what I didn't do well the last week. But if you make it simple like that, then it's easy to just go out there and have that consistent mindset.
In the middle right here in the front?
Tre, you had your first 2 home runs off starting pitcher Zach Lee. What were you looking for from him, and what did y'all kind of discuss in the scouting report?
Last week I struggled a little bit because I felt like I was a little antsy. I wasn't working the middle to oppo field like I usually do. I was kind of pulling off on balls. So earlier when we were working out, hitting in the cages, BP and stuff, I was working on seeing the ball to take deeper, and I even took it into the game. I wanted to make sure, even if I was a little late, I was going to make sure to see the ball to take deeper, try to work the other way, and it worked out for me.
Michael, you got one in the back?
Actually, I just blanked on it, so I'll give it up.
Go ahead.
Tre, I guess you're never surprised by your fans, but as long as the delays were today and for the place to be that packed and that loud, what were your thoughts?
We knew that if the game started at 2, it was definitely going to be loud, but the longer we waited, the cooler it got out there. We knew that it was going to get even more rowdy. So once that window opened up and I kind of walked out the locker room onto the field and looked around, I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I was expecting.
Okay, we'll go ahead and release this. Oh, you got one more question here in the front? We got one in the front here. Okay.
Paul, as we're coming up, and the season's obviously ending, we're in postseason, but what's it been like at LSU, coming from the Air Force and this being a completely different community?
It's pretty much the exact opposite. I was talking to somebody before I came over here. We averaged, I think, 150 fans last year when we were at home, and now we have 12,000 fans every game. It feels like, but it's been really cool to be welcome here and to enjoy the crowd. I was looking forward to this start for a while, knowing that it was going to be the last one at Alex Box Stadium, and it meant a lot.
Michael?
This is for both players. We can start with Paul. I know you will have a different approach than most people will probably think about, but you're 1 win away from Omaha. How do you control those emotions and playing tomorrow and performing?
Yeah, the only thing that we have to do is execute, and then it's gonna work out. Coach talks about the standard above winning. If we do everything right and we execute to the best of our abilities, then it's all going to take care of itself. So it's a cool opportunity, but obviously got to come out tomorrow and just execute, and then we're gonna have a cool team trip to Nebraska.
Trey?
Yeah, as soon as we wake up tomorrow, today means nothing. We're going to go out there and win one pitch at a time. Like, that's our motto. That's what we're going to go out there and do. Yeah, obviously we know what the end goal is. We know what the result could be, but we're not worried about the result. We're going to pretty much lock in on as many pitches as we can.
Okay, anything else for the student athletes? Okay, we'll go ahead and let you guys go, and we'll open it for questions here. Ron in the front for Coach.
Yeah, Jay, what was your, I guess your thoughts this afternoon when you looked out your office window and there was just no rain all afternoon? We were like, what happened?
Yeah, I didn't really think much about it, to be honest with you. I've said this before, when they tell us we can play, we'll play, and we'll play hard. You know, as you get older as a coach, you only focus on the things you can control, or I've tried to get better at that, and not good at it all the time, but yeah, I didn't really think much of it. Really good job by the administrators here in the tournament of communicating and all of that, and really, you know, the hat tip of the whole thing is to the fans, you know, for being here at 2 and ready to go. That's the earliest I've seen them in the ballpark for a game, which is awesome. And then to, you know, stick out a long day, you know, and then at the loudest I've ever heard this stadium is when we took the field for the first inning tonight, and that was special.
Back row here.
Yeah, Jay, right here. I think you mentioned earlier this week that you've never had a pitcher where you just know what you're going to get from him going into the game. Just what has Paul Skenes meant to this program for the last year, and just to have that kind of performance from him tonight?
Yeah, I don't think you can quantify it. I think, you know, this has been a couple years in the making, you know what I mean? You know, from a different school to here, and the Friday night, the Saturday night, the 12 to 13 strikeouts a game, the 3 to 4 hits, the 0 or 1 run up on the board, and being able to count on that at the level we play at and the schedule that we play is, I mean, maybe somebody's done it before. I haven't really seen that. You know, Steven Strasburg is the only competitor as far as just execution and talent and domination that I've seen to this. And, you know, our team plays better because of him, you know, in terms of the physical performance, but we'd be here all night if I talked about the person. They don't come around like that. I mean, this is A-plus human being and character as it gets, and that's why the talent ascends to the level that it has. I mean, we're talking, you know, Michael Jordan, you know, type stuff.
Front left.
Hey Jay, Brett Martell with AP. So 6 home runs tonight, 132 in the year, which ranks 3rd all time in program history, I believe. Kind of with those 90 teams, I think a lot of people thought that wouldn't really happen again when the bats changed, but could you, I guess, give your perspective on those kind of numbers and what it means is going into the climax of the season?
Well, it means a lot, you know, and I won't get into historical context a whole lot, but I mean, this is the Gorilla Ball program, you know, and I think about the teams that achieved those that have been, you know, where maybe this team's close to. I mean, that's college baseball legends, you know, from you know, Coach Bertman to Eddie Furness, man, it's just Todd Walker, you know, I'm sure they were part of those home run barrage teams. You know, that's pretty cool. You know, just I'm a baseball guy. I'm a college baseball guy. Like, I had no idea, you know, but that's pretty cool. Relative to these guys, there's talent. You know, there's real talent on that field, obviously. There's a lot of hard work, both in the weight room, in the batting cage, mentally, vision-wise, approach-wise, and it's our deal. You know what I mean? Like, it's our deal. We work really, really hard at it, and a lot of them it's been for 2 years, and it's really exciting to. And there's been a lot of nights like tonight with this team. You know, I mean, I think we've have more double-digit run games than anybody in the country this year, or close. And they're relentless at doing the things they need to do to perform like that. And it's fun to watch when it happens like tonight.
Right here in the front, Coach.
It seems like some of these players, like Josh Pearson, Tre Morgan, are really hitting their stride. I mean, not that they haven't before, but in postseason ball. Why is that, and why do you think they're excelling right now at the right time?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think when I think about those guys, I think about just the baseball part of it. They're both very pure hitters, but there's a competitive element to those two that is very unique. I never worry if either of them are ready to play. If either of them are lacking confidence, that doesn't happen with those guys. I love left-handed hitters. Those guys are very pure hitters. They've done what we've asked them to do. They're prepared, and you're right. It's their time, and they're playing like it's their time.
Right here in the back row.
Yeah, Jay, I think you said earlier tonight during the broadcast that you hope that recruits and other players are watching because this environment and this kind of stuff doesn't happen all too often across college baseball. Can you just talk about what you think the impact of this particular team can have on the future of the program you're building here?
Yeah, I think it's a special team. No question about that. I think anytime I've had a team that's been successful, what I try to do is take the things that were good from that team and emulate them in the program going forward. And really old players, in some cases, we have some future major league players. We have some young players that have really contributed to their success, but it's not quite their time right now. We have great leadership, and the two guys up here are a big part of that. So I think it will have a long-term impact on it. There's guys that I believe we could interchange that haven't played a whole lot lately, and the result wouldn't be that much different because of their talent. And if I'm a young player out there, whether it's a high school player or transfer portal, and I look at that stadium tonight, and I look at the energy in the ballpark, and I look at that, and I go that's a baseball team. And if I want to be a major league player, and I want to play in environments where you have a chance to go to the College World Series, this place is at the top of my list. And we're going to keep trying to facilitate that.
Back, Michael.
Did you have any role in lobbying for the delay? And now that we're at the back end of this, is there anything that can be learned from it to maybe be a little bit more proactive in such a lengthy delay and making those decisions earlier in the day so that people aren't here kind of waiting it out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very comfortable with the process of what happened. I mean, this is as professionally run tournament as there is in college athletics. I mean, I don't have any knowledge of what the college football playoff looks like, but I would guess things are very, very similar. And, we have great committee or great administrators on the site. I think it's good that they have discussions with us. I think the communication was fine. The largest window of lightning was at 3 p.m. today. I mean, if you looked at it, and it was looked at from every angle. The National Weather Service was on a call with myself, my sport administrator, their coach, their sport administrator, all the games committee. And if you listened to that call, there would probably be a greater understanding of why we didn't start the game. And I'm very comfortable with it. And as I said earlier, this is a big job, you know what I mean? And this is an important job. And therefore, I focus on what I can control, which is the preparation of my team when they say go. And they didn't say go until 9:06. We tried a couple times, but it wasn't going to work. And if we're about safety, then we need to be about safety. If we're about fairness, we need to be about fairness. And I'm comfortable with all of that. I appreciate being communicated to in the fashion we were by the people from the NCAA. I appreciate having the opportunity to listen to an expert at the weather, and I'm very comfortable with how the process played out. And with that being said, as I said earlier, the stars of the delay are those fans up there in the purple and gold, because they didn't get discouraged or distracted by it. They showed up, and they showed up in a big way.
Right here in the front, Coach.
Coach, what do you think was the biggest difference between this start and the last time Paul faced Kentucky? What do you think were the adjustments that were made?
Well, in the last one, he struck out 13. In this one, he only struck out 9. It's different games, different time. There's a lot to it. I don't really want to elaborate on that just because I'd have to really go back in my memory bank and go like April 14th, what happened. I don't know if that's the exact date, but I feel like that was pretty close. And, I think he executed beautifully tonight. I think the execution of everything in the zone or near the zone was much better tonight than it was in that start. He had a few bigger misses in the last start, which allowed them to see the ball better when he was in the zone. He didn't miss very far off tonight. And so they had to make a decision every single pitch. And when you're having to make a decision on a 101 mile an hour fastball and that slider, good luck.
Fall left, Coach.
Jay, I imagine your team doesn't have to be reminded of the series against Kentucky last time. You guys pounded them pretty good, and they came back and gave you all a tough time the last 2 games. What are your expectations of Kentucky? Remembering that series and what you've seen of them all season.
Yeah, great team. It's had a great season. Not surprised they're here. When I saw the brackets, it was like, if we advance, this is who we're going to be playing. And old team, competitive team. They have a lot of pitching, so I expect a dogfight where we'll have to play well to win tomorrow.
Right here.
Coach, just to be clear, who gets the last call on those weather decisions, whether you delay the game or not?
The NCAA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Back in the back, Jacques.
Coach, how does the one-game playoff mentality factor into one game to go to Omaha?
Well, I think it's been a good formula for us because the same things, again, as crazy as it sounds, with the result, what that would mean, the same things we need to do to beat a Kentucky or somebody in the SEC in April and May, they're the same things tomorrow. And these guys have the maturity to understand that, and you heard the word execution from those guys like 5 times tonight. And they know what it's about, and that's why they're here in this program, because they have talent and they have the right mind. And that's why you've seen it show up a lot, and they know what they need to do. And like I said, I believe last week, the motivation deal is not an issue.
Okay, we'll wrap it up. If we'll take one more question here in the front.
Would you say that the mental part is sometimes more important than the physical part? Because if you're not, right with your head, you can't play the best?
Yes, and I'll just go back to my first team meeting when I got the job. It's like we're going to work on mindset every day in this program. And it's so important in this sport. And to achieve at a high level, you have to create some type of advantage. We have great talent, but it's still about the team that plays the best, and your outlook and how you frame things to get to peak performance is really important. So it's absolutely more important, especially at this time of year.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody, for their cooperation. We'll see y'all at 5 o'clock tomorrow.